fantastic. And welcome, actors. You have made it. So, welcome to Screen Acting School. Grab yourself a coffee, open up your heart, and get ready. But remember, this isn't a TV show, it's a class. And it's not free. You're paying by showing up and doing the work. So, we are so excited to see you all subscribing to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much. If you've already subscribed, we adore you. If you're one of the hundreds that we see coming back to watch these videos over and over, but you haven't subscribed yet, then make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss a thing because there is magic happening, babe. I promise you.
Absolutely. So this class, the magic in this class is about how regret reveals what matters, how choice creates character and career, and how the moment before holds all the truth you need to move casting, yourself, and the story. So here's what we're going to cover today. How choosing your regret can be the actor's most honest tool. I can see a couple of people going like, what does that mean?
Hmm.
Oh, and if you're in Audition Plus, regret is a very strong choice for your victim character, the one we're working on right now. And this will be very, very juicy stuff. 3 things you need to learn today that will change your life as an actor. 1, how to use regret as a very powerful tool for telling truth in acting. 2, how to make braver choices in life, in your roles, and in your auditions. And 3, how to build an absolutely unforgettable moment before the books.
Yeah, this is
Everybody got that?
easy.
Okay, so we're going to get into it. I'm going to tell you a little story about my mother-in-law, who is 95 years old. And I spend as much time with her as I can, not because she's close to death, but because she's a really interesting woman with a few well-chosen regrets. And one is not going to university. She went to nursing school instead. That was what they could afford. Back then, when you went to nursing school, it was taught through apprenticeship. So she didn't have to go to university and she didn't have to pay, which made it easier for her. She made the most of that choice. She became the head nurse at Victoria General Hospital. And years ago, many, many moons ago, she had this dream. And her dream was to build the first hospice in Canada, a place where people could die in peace and where families could grieve with dignity. But it was very unusual then, it had never been done before. And when she proposed it, the doctors, all of which were men, or all of whom were men, there were no women doctors back then. They said, we're not wasting hospital money on people who are going to die anyway. And I said, I can see Allie's like, no, that is not
I
what we
saw
do.
Ellie's face too. Yeah.
I said, what did you say to them? And she said, nothing. I went above their heads. I don't waste time with men who think too well of themselves. Which is, yeah, absolutely. She rocks. To be clear, though, she went over their heads to God. She prayed and then she got to work and she made it happen. It became the first in Canada. Now, I don't believe in God. It's not my thing. Totally Donna-Marie's thing, but not mine. But what I do believe in is keeping your own counsel, meditation, and visualization. Very similar to prayer, right? And that's how she did it. And now that she's close to death herself, she's calm. She's very peaceful. She said, the regrets I have, I chose them. They came from living, from doing things. Now she is close to death, but she's peaceful. And she also told me, this was on Sunday or Saturday or Sunday, I can't remember. She told me about a trip she took down the Nile River. And she said, there's almost nothing on either side. It's just this narrow band of green along the edges. But people still go there. And they go down to the river and they sit in the shade of those trees, or they get on the boats and they take that little trip. And that stuck with me because she's not talking about Egypt. She's talking about opportunities. She's trying to tell me how to live. I love her. She says her choices are not wide open. They're not always wide open, and it's not always endless. It's the narrow band of green and a whole lot of desert. But most people stay home. They wait. They think, next year I'll go to Egypt. But the ones who live, they get on the boat, even if they don't know what's coming.
Yeah. And that is the difference that we're here to teach. Okay. You will have regret, but you get to decide what kind. So, do you want the kind that comes from showing up and giving it your all, even if it's messy? I'm sorry, this is an emotional one for me to get through. Or do you want the kind that comes from staying home, staying quiet, and staying stuck? Because actors are no different, right? You've probably had moments, maybe even now, where you're circling something that you know you want, a role, a class, an agent, a career move. And you'll tell yourself, I'm not quite ready yet. You know what? I'll wait until I feel ready. But the truth is, if you don't choose something, you don't just lose one thing. Okay, you lose everything that could have followed. And that is real regret. So I want to know now, what's regret that you're carrying from your acting life right now? And I'm going to give you a second to pop that in the chat. Excuse me. So, what's a regret that you're carrying from your acting life right now? Take a second to think, pop it in the chat because we want to hear. This is important stuff, you guys.
And it's really about choosing. It's about saying, okay, I'm going to do this. So this doesn't get to live.
Hmm. Absolutely. So, what's one regret that you're carrying from your acting life right now? Virginia says that I didn't believe in myself sooner. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, Virginia. I totally get that. But you're making amends.
Allie, it's the same. Hey,
Yeah, Sophia says shutting it out. Yeah, you were the
yeah.
same thing, really, Sophia, right? You were shutting it out.
Not
Even
doing this is pretty consistent.
yeah,
Not doing it sooner is
isn't that
pretty consistent.
interesting? Isn't that so interesting? Because Sophia, we had a
Yeah.
discussion um this weekend or last weekend, sorry, you were here with us in Vancouver and we had a discussion about that, right? About how, you put it off and you put it off and then you couldn't put it off anymore, right? Absolutely. Not being able to do as much as I want, Laura says. Jeff says, my regret is I wish I could have started sooner and taken classes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Lindsay says not doing it sooner, but I was so caught up in life. Yeah, life happens, right? It really does catch us up. But if we don't stop and say, okay, no, I'm taking a stand here, this is what I'm doing, life always catches up with you. It will never stop. Allie says that I didn't follow through the action steps after my acting school in my 20s. Yeah, yeah, these are all. So you guys have a lot of similar regrets, which is
Yeah.
so interesting, but so telling, right?
Mel's not doubting myself and not believing I could do this unless you lost 20 pounds.
Yeah, yeah,
And you got an agent right away. You started auditioning right away.
yeah, exactly. Brian
Shows
says,
what a lie these things are that we tell ourselves, right?
dimming my light because of others' insecurities or jealousy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've done that. I've done that, Brian. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so telling, you guys. So telling. Laura says, generally giving up a career in the arts as a young person to support someone else's dream. Yeah, these are all really similar. I didn't anticipate this.
Me either.
I'm actually not surprised. I'm actually not surprised. This is not on script, Casey, but when they speak to people often on their deathbeds, the regrets are generally the steps they didn't take, right? Not the ones that they did. And that seems to be what you're all telling me is the things, or what you're telling us is the things that you regret are waiting a little too long, not getting going sooner, not jumping in,
Mhm.
right? It's so, so impactful. So impactful.
Christine says no regrets, self-awareness, which is great, but sometimes you have to make choices that leave you with what we would call maybe good regrets,
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
minor regrets, things that it's because I made a choice. I didn't get to do this thing. I did this thing. And
Hmm.
so living the idea here is to make the choice that sometimes causes you to have regrets in other areas because life isn't always handing you everything you want at the same time.
Hmm.
And sometimes you have to make choices, or it is. And then you really have to make choices.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
What would you do differently today, like right now, today, to make sure you don't carry regret,
Yeah.
like toxic regret?
Yeah, to make sure you don't carry that regret into the next year, let's say. So you've told us about the regrets you've had. What choices would you make differently to not carry that regret into the next year?
Yeah. So Regina's saying, I don't regret things. I make choices and then I deal with the consequences of those choices. Regrets are not helpful. There shoulda, coulda, woulda. You can't go back, just do better. And I think the idea is not to have that heavy regret, but just, oh, that was something I'm regretting this audition. Like I'm not able to do it.
Hmm.
So it's not so much feeling bad about it. It's that, oh, that's a regret. That's something I'm saying no to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Amber's here. Hey,
Oh, Tracy said I'd learn to not doubt myself. Sophia says I'd
so
listen.
true.
Sophia says I'd listen to you guys, and not my evil twin that lives inside of my brain to move forward and not have this regret. Yeah, I love that, Sophia. Taylor says I'd seize every opportunity that I can. Absolutely, absolutely. Linda says I'd learn to take care of myself better. A happy, healthy Linda automatically translates into a happy, healthy
So
actor.
true. So
Love
true.
that. Love
Yeah.
that. Malcolm says you have to make choices that you know feel better for you sooner rather than later. Yeah. So acting a little bit
Yeah.
quicker, Malcolm, is what you're
There we
saying.
go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I really love this. Um, Brian says the reality is I don't wallow in regret. Most of the missteps would have taken me on a different path. I don't
Hmm.
know what my life would be if not for some shortcomings. It doesn't mean, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, Brian, 100%. Virginia says, I'm in the right spot right now. So just keep doing what I've been doing for the last year. Exactly, because you've changed a lot of things, Virginia,
Hmm.
really, really fast. And you are a booking machine, and we love it. It's so
And
wonderful.
I think maybe I'm going to disagree with you just a little bit, Virginia, just because it's time to level up. So some of the things about um, I don't think I'm revealing anything too much, but just about caring for others over yourself, their feelings when you don't even know what they're feeling, that kind of thing. When you're just so instead of that, caring for yourself, putting yourself not always, but putting yourself first in your career.
Hmm. Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's so true, Richard. Regret is the past and past is unchangeable. Concentrate on the future. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's exactly what we're talking about, right? So, what would you do now to do it differently so that you can change that future? That's exactly it. Exactly it. I love it. I love it, you guys.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Respect your own wisdom. Yeah. When you have that little voice saying, this is not right, that kind of thing. Or I know I have to do something different, but I don't know what to do. All
Hmm.
of those things. You know, I stumbled on this idea of regret with a scene I was doing with an actor, and it was a really tough scene. It was a really tough scene. So was it was one of those scenes where you think, of course you're gonna cry, but nobody was. So I was coaching her on the scene, and in the scene, her daughter had tried to take her life. And the first line was very simple. It was, "Hey baby, I'm here," which is very moving, very emotional. Even just telling the story about it right now, I'm getting really emotional from that line. But it wasn't landing. It felt really clean, you know? Those are the kind of lines that don't sound clean. They are heavy.
Hmm.
And I said, what are the regrets that you have? And then, okay, now the regrets are making me feel so emotional, right? Ignoring her daughter's phone calls. So dismissing her pain, saying it was nothing, telling her that it wasn't serious. And now it's too late, almost too late. But she still showed up and she made amends. She said the line again. And this time, everybody felt it. The whole room changed. She walked in with something. She had this regret. And she also chose to show up late instead of not showing up at all.
Yeah, it was a regret she could live with, right? And that's what the moment before is, you guys. It's not just a backstory. It's the moment that your character decides who they are. And here is something that I want every actor to hear, okay? Heroes, villains, victims, they all have the same backstory. They all got hurt, they all experience pain, but their choices are what define them. So the villain says, the world gave me pain, and guess what? I'm going to give it back. And the hero says, the world gave me pain. I'm going to use it to understand others and help them. And the victim says, the world gave me pain, so I'm not going to do anything with the world. It's too scary. Same world, different decisions. And isn't that what acting is? Feeling something real and choosing what to do with it. That's what makes a character so powerful. You guys know this. That's what makes an actor unforgettable. And it is exactly the same for you. You've been through things. Life didn't spare you, it hasn't spared any of us. But what are you going to do with it? Let it shut you down? Or let it open the door to your most honest, grounded work? And that's a real question. Okay. So that's the work that we do in Audition Plus. That's how actors book life-changing roles from a place of truth, not performance.
Does this all make sense? How
Yeah.
you can use this? So using past emotions to help with a character is okay. You can't, an emotion is different than an experience. So you can, and you've experienced lots of emotions. So you can take the experience, the emotions from the experience and bring them to the character. I don't recommend using past experiences because they can be pretty hard to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a therapist, neither is Donna-Marie. So we're not going to be here to help you through them. And even some therapists can't help you through them
Yeah.
because they're just tough times. And
Yeah.
you just have to learn to work around them.
Mhm.
So I believe this is my closely held belief that the experiences of our lives are sacred and they don't just belong to us, they belong to the other people who were there too. And so when you're using them, they can sometimes muddy the work with your own emotional experience around them. So if you use your emotions, if you say, well, I felt lost before and I felt this when I felt lost, then you bring the emotion over to the experience that you're having, the given circumstances that you're having. But try not to use your own life. Try to use your imagination. The thing that happens when you use your imagination is your imagination gets better and better and better and more powerful, and you make better choices.
Yeah, absolutely.
Laura says, I find the emotional connection work very therapeutic. It is, and it's all coming from your body. Not that we're being therapists, but it is therapeutic. It's
Yeah.
you healing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are there big choices that you're avoiding or regrets that you could live with, like choosing and failing or not choosing at all? Like not choosing at all is, as Donna-Marie said, it's like a lifetime of regret.
Mm-hmm.
But choosing and failing or choosing and failing and growing is a different thing.
Yeah, so what's a big choice that you've avoided lately? Does anyone have any? Go ahead and pop it in the chat. I'd love to hear.
Me
What's a
too.
big choice you've avoided lately? We want to know.
Linda, when I try to use a past painful experience, I either shut down emotionally because I'm not over it, or I can't access the original emotion because you are over it. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's exactly it, Linda.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah. What's a
experience dries out.
big, yeah, 100%. Brian says a feeling of regret is simply a warning caution light. Absolutely, Brian, I agree with that. Pain tells us that what just happened physically or emotionally cannot continue. Tracy says, so going back to what I was just asking, what's a big choice you've avoided lately? Tracy says, accepting auditions. I had a couple I didn't do. I'd love to hear more on that, Tracy, why you didn't do that if you want to pop it in. I would love to hear that. Yeah. Any other big choices that you've avoided lately? We all have them. It's okay to share.
And if you don't want to share the choice, that's okay too. You don't have to tell us all your personal stuff, but we're really interested in what you're not choosing in terms of acting.
Mhm.
And what people often don't choose in terms of acting is leveling up because it's dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, and we talked about this a little bit last week, right? It's that fear. It's like if I don't try, can't fail, you know?
So Jeff says, I actually used a painful emotional experience in a scene many years ago, which the scene called for, and I got many compliments on it. That happens. And what also happens is if you continue to do that, you burn out the experience. It doesn't work anymore. So it's like hour 13, everybody's really tired and it doesn't work. Technique works. The other thing is if you use it over and over again, you're re-injuring yourself. So it's effective, just like yelling at a child to shut up is effective. It shuts them up, but it's not long-term effective. What you get is a person who doesn't speak because they're scared of being yelled at,
Hmm.
instead of saying, I think it's time that we were quiet right now.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's the difference, right? Things can be very effective and not being very healthy.
Going back to those choices that people have been avoiding
Yeah.
lately, Virginia said, I've been trying to decide if I maybe should be changing my agent. Yeah, it's a big choice. I get that. I totally get that. Um, Tracy says, doubting myself. I know I can do it, but the doubt comes on strong. So that there's a disconnect there, right? There's not a true knowing, Tracy. If that doubt's coming on strong, I would have you, or I would pose to you. Um, Lori says, I have a choice to house sit in Costa Rica for 3 months, and I know it will put me on hold for submitting. Yeah, so this
Yeah.
is a big choice you've been avoiding. I get it. However, it'll help me create a fixed schedule of practice for when I return. I can practice the mindset of belief, and there will be roles on the return.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're talking about in terms of good regrets, because you have two great choices here, and you have to decide which one you're going to regret. So when you can't make an audition, agents call that regretting. We're regretting you.
Mhm.
So the same with your choices. We're regretting this thing, and then we're going to
And
do
we're
another
letting it go, right? We're letting it
one.
go.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And I see a few people talking about their agents. Sophia said, me too, in response to Virginia. She's been thinking about changing her agent. Yeah. Linda says, I've been choosing negative thinking lately rather than choosing joy. Well, Linda, I'm giving you a slap on the wrist. Stop it now.
But if you are choosing that, use it, make it effective. Like negative emotions can be a really good thing. Like fear can be a really good thing to motivate you.
Yeah,
So
but negative thinking, I would say not. And Linda,
yeah,
we
not negative thinking, but
close
negative emotions.
together.
Yeah.
So you know what to do. Get back on the horse, as I said.
Brian says, stop it.
Exactly. Stop
You
it.
know, you've got your team around you. Like Brian's the first one to chime in there because he knows you so well, right?
Hmm. Absolutely. Shauna says, committing to a new agent. I quit my agency of years, but now I'm not quite ready to recommit. So you've been putting off that
Mm,
decision there. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely, Shauna. Jeff says, I regret not getting an agent yet. Yeah, well, you know what? Next steps, right? Let's move you
Yeah,
forward. Let's
yeah.
move you forward. Ali says it's not an avoidance for me, but I feel I have other commitments when the commercial dates shoot, so I don't end up auditioning. Yeah, so you
No,
have your,
that's just fair.
that's totally fair. Yeah,
Yeah, that's just fair.
absolutely. Absolutely. Taylor says, I've been avoiding, so this is something Taylor's been avoiding. I've been avoiding sending anything to new agents because I can't decide who might be a good fit for me. Okay, so doing a bit of research, asking some questions. Taylor, I know that you're part of Audition Plus. So we have office hours where you can be like, I've been trying to decide between these two. Here's what I think. Come chat it out. Come chat it
Mhm.
out with everyone in the group,
Yeah,
right?
and there's nothing like meeting them to decide whether they're they are a good fit.
100%. 100%. I love that. I love that, you guys. Absolutely. So I think you're all, you're all on the path. You've all got a good idea. You know what you need to do.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, absolutely. And what Donna-Marie was talking about with Taylor, Audition Plus is where we do this for real. It's like scene work, mindset, emotional connection, booking level expertise with your notes. And if you're standing at a crossroads right now, this is your moment before. This is your chance to walk in and do something in your body. And you don't need to be perfect. A lot of people are afraid to get started because they think they need to be perfect. You don't. You just need to be present.
Yeah.
Yeah, says Gavin. Yeah. And let's thanks for that, Gavin. And it's definitely in your life, right? Like you are showing up every time and you're booking. And I don't know how many, like 27 doctors that you've played now, but learning those archetypes and learning how to be confident really helped you.
And do it first and do it well second is what Gavin said. Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah, that's brilliant advice. Okay,
Confidence
so
and
what we
mindset.
learned
Yeah.
today is regret shows you what matters. So choose the ones that you can live with. Two, choice shapes your scenes and your life. And three, number three, the moment before is the space where it all comes to life. So if you motivate yourself with regret, you can move forward.
Yeah, use that as fuel, use it as power. And here's the thing, you don't need to feel ready at all. You just need to choose. Okay? Yeah. Grab that 1 second of courage and choose to be the hero in your own life, your own story, the lead in your own life. Choose to act with truth. Choose the regret that you can live with. And if you're serious about making acting your career and you really want to dive into this work and take the steps that are going to move you forward, then Audition Plus is for you. And we would love to welcome you inside this very special community. And today is the last day for our very special offer, okay? So we are offering all new actors, new clients, 50% off of their first package in Audition Plus, but you must register today. So you can use the coupon code ACTOR, ACTOR, coupon code ACTOR at the checkout to get your discount. So I'm going to pop that link in for you right now. And the coupon code will be ACTOR. And if you would love to join us and get to work, we would love to have you. Now, once you register for Audition Plus, you'll be guided to a form where you can let us know who you are and we can determine how we can coach you. And it's important that you fill out this form, okay? Because coaching actors is not one size fits all. We got to know who you are. So please know, and this is important, we are only interested in working with actors who are committed and passionate about moving their craft,
A
their
raft.
craft, their craft and career forward.
Yeah, and that's really important to us. We don't want to see people who are lazy. We want to see people who are really doing the work. It matters. And of course, you've got to be a good person, no exceptions. So tell us about your goals and your dreams in your application and don't hold back.
Absolutely. And here is the beautiful truth. If you choose to accept it, you are only one audition away from a life-changing role. Okay, so let's make sure that everyone in that room remembers you. So I'm going to pop that app or pop that link in for you one more time. The coupon code for this special offer, 50% off, which only goes until the end of the day, is ACTOR. So coupon code ACTOR for 50% off. And I think that's going to be a wrap for us. So if you want that link, copy and paste it now, I would say. Oh,
Oh, Rebecca, thank you.
Rebecca says you will not regret it, you guys. Oh,
Oh,
thank you,
that's really sweet.
Rebecca.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, Kyla says, and you never introduced yourselves. And who are you again? Donna-Marie lives in the city and Casey lives in a cabin in the woods. We didn't introduce ourselves today. I think we should end with that, Casey. What
Sure. I can't believe we didn't introduce ourselves. What is going on?
introduce ourselves? You guys know our show better than we do.
But I'm bumped.
I
I'm
love it.
Casey. I'm your acting and audition coach. I live in a little cabin in the woods with 100 chickens, 3 cats, 2 dogs, and assorted humans. And I love coaching actors to their dream.
Yeah,
And that's me.
100%. And I am Donna-Marie. I'm your mindset and visualization coach here at Screen Acting School. I live in the big city because, well, I love people watching, excitement, and a really, really great coffee, as some of you know. And I am so passionate about making you believe in yourself so darn much that acting starts to believe too. So that's who we are. That's what we're here for. And we can't wait to welcome you into Audition Plus. So if you would love to move your career forward and push those regrets to the side, then we are here for you. And today's the day to join. And thank you so much, Rebecca, for reminding us.
That was so great. So, so great.
So
And
good.
Allie, no, I don't have goats, but I think to myself often we should get goats because we have acres and acres and acres of grass to mow, and I really do get tired of it.
And I,
So it would be really nice to have some. What's that?
I said, I think I'm fancy because now I have chives, but I'm not on the goat level yet. I'm not getting there.
Yeah, it is a whole thing. But you know what? It's so hard to get away when you have 100 chickens and goats and cats and dogs and all that kind of stuff. It's hard to leave.
Mhm.
So, you know, adding more animals is just the worst possible idea. And
Agreed.
with that, I should probably get going and doing my farm stuff because it calls to me.
I think so. So I think we're
Yeah.
going to say this is a wrap for us. Let's leave those, maybe not leave those regrets behind, but let's use them to push us forward, make
Hmm.
different decisions in our life. If this is the time for you to move forward in your career and to take those steps, let's make sure you don't have a regret. How
Yeah.
about so we would love to have you join us. I'm popping that link in one more time. The coupon code is ACTOR. We hope you all have a wonderful day. And that's a wrap for us. We'll see
Hmm.
you on screen.
Bye.